Well, good. All right, just monitor, and I guess we are set to go. What's up, everybody? It's good to see you guys again. My name is Juan Rodriguez, good old JR, Junior, whatever you guys know me as. Thank you for tuning in today. I want to thank everybody that did tune in yesterday, that tuned in for the first episode yesterday for season 2. It was exciting. It was fun to be back. I know I was kind of away for a little bit, but that's okay. A lot of changes, a lot of everything, but the podcast is going up again. We had a little technical difficulties yesterday with Instagram Lives. I think we're good today with it. We are good. Yeah, okay, we're good with the Instagram and we're good with Facebook. So now we have more than one ways to watch this time. So thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, the comments are always open. My lovely assistant will read the comment to me, whatever comment arises at this time. And other than that, let's get to it. Episode 2, we got the New York Jets finishing, running up this Saturday with the numbers 2 pick in this year's NFL draft. And before we get there, let's just show how they got there. So starting off with their 2020 draft picks. Overall, I thought they were going to they had a decent class. It was a very good evaluation and very good timing on their part. It's just unfortunately it didn't translate to the field. Let's start off with the first pick last year, Mickey Becton, who drew a lot of comparisons to Trent Brown, and it kind of showed a little bit when he's on the field. He could be one of the nastiest blockers in the game, but with all that weight and everything, it just shows that it might be a little too much pressure on his feet and on his knees. Second round Denzel Mims, he was getting a lot of momentum heading into last year's draft, where it was to the point there were some people taking him in the first, mock drafts in the first round. I didn't see it. So second round, I thought that was going to be a good pickup. It's just it didn't work out for them for obvious reasons. The Jets were the worst offense in football, so nothing was going right. When you have a 35-year-old as your best running back, leading running back, you're gonna have a tough time in a young man's game. Third round, they got Ashton Davis, the defensive back out of Cal. In the Senior Bowl, he killed it. He showed that he belongs in the NFL, and he deserves to a shot in the NFL. And he could play anywhere. He could play corner. He could play safety. I think they're going to use him as a safety now that the new head coach Robert Saleh is in the helms now of being the head coach of the New York Giants. So they'll probably push him back to safety again. I thought that was a good pick. He looked very solid during the Senior Bowl last year. It's just it didn't translate. Jabari Zuniga, the defensive end out of Florida. They had last year with a couple seasons a defensive end out of Florida who's now entirely out of the league. And they took another one. He has way better character, but again, didn't translate. Then they took Lamika Perine, the running back out of Florida. He never got a shot. Whether it was due to injuries, whether it was just him not getting enough snaps, enough reps, it just wasn't there. James Morgan, who I was really kind of high on last year, who was kind of a sleeper pick for me, the quarterback. I thought he had great arm strength. Yeah, his footwork was kind of rusty and a little bit wild, but I think if a good coach gets a hold of him, I think they can turn him into a great, solid starter. So he fell in the fourth round. Cameron Clark, the offensive lineman out of Charlotte, again, practice squad dude, special teamer guy, just more for depth purposes. Bryce Hall out of Virginia, I was actually kind of surprised he fell into the fifth. That was kind of surprising to me, but again, it goes to show that you never know what's going to happen until the day of the draft. And then last, they had Brandon Mann, the punter out of Texas A&M, and that was their 2020 draft class. It didn't really translate that much. They ended up going 2-14. Their only wins coming against the Rams and the Browns. It was just bad from the get-go, from the beginning to the end of the season. Adam Gase was just losing control of the locker room. Le'Veon Bell, that experiment failed, and they ended up just cutting him. After giving him all that guaranteed money, they just said, all right, we're done. And they still have to pay him this offseason, which is kind of a weird thing to, kind of think. Sam Darnold's been regressing every single year, and I think that's more due to lack of coaching and lack of talent around him. He's a good quarterback. I believe he's still a good quarterback. It's just lack of talent surrounding him, and obviously the organization failing to put a solid pieces around him. So as I mentioned before, they were the worst offense in the NFL, 26 in defense. So I mean, take it for what it's worth. I mean, it is what it is. It's just the offense never got going. As I said, Frank Gore was their leading running back last year with 600 yards. So when you have a guy who's close to the end of his career being your number one running back, you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna have a hard time winning in this league. But they ended up finishing 2-14. They had just heartbreaking losses this whole year. I mean, 14 was bad, but some were just heartbreaking more than others. There was the one against the Raiders where it was the Hail Mary. There was one against the Patriots where it was the last second field goal due to a penalty. Just so many heartbreaks up and down with the Jets, and it was time. Adam Gase was not meant to be the head coach. Everybody kind of remembers him as the coked out head coach because in his first press conference he kind of did the whole, it's that I should have told everybody that's a Jets fan. This is going to be a long tenure with him. So after this one, after 2-14, that was enough. Le'Veon Bell left. That was enough of that. So head into the offseason, they hired the defensive coordinator out of the San Francisco 49ers, which I thought that was actually a pretty good pickup. I think with how they played last year defensively, I think his energy and his scheme, I think they're really going to amp up the defense just a little bit more. They can always use a little bit more talent, but I think with his energy, I think it'll amp up just a little bit, and they've got to work on that offense. So Robert Saleh comes in. He's the fiery, energetic coach, and they need that. The Jets need energy. They just look so lackluster, so lazy and down that they need that energy, and he's going to bring it. I know Robert Saleh is going to bring that energy to the New York Jets. So heading into this free agency, they had a lot of cap room to kind of play around with, see what they can get, and I said they got a good haul. Again, when I think fans kind of misinterpret draft picks and cap space, not every pick's going to be a home run, and you're not always going to get the shiniest toy in free agency. It just doesn't. Sometimes that's a recipe for disaster. So I like what the Jets did here. Same thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday. They didn't bring in the shiniest pieces, but they brought in some good veterans to kind of get this team going, to kind of show them, hey, this is how to be a professional football team. This is what it takes to kind of win, and how to be a professional every single week. So they're going to start off their first big free signing, was Carl Lawson, veteran defensive end out of Cincinnati. I think the only negative on that was they kind of gave him a high guarantee, considering the fact that he's kind of almost out the door as well, and it was kind of a high guarantee, but I understand why Robert Saleh didn't want to bring him in. Kind of a good veteran presence there just for the first couple seasons, just to kind of get the young guys going. They also brought in Sheldon Rankins, a former first-rounder from the Saints. They got Corey Davis, the wide receiver from Tennessee, who was a former first-rounder himself. Justin Hardy, the specialist corner from the Saints. Keelan Cole, who's kind of like an up-and-down wide receiver for Jacksonville, is now part of the team. Jarrad Davis, a former first-round linebacker from Detroit. I think that's a solid pickup. He needs his middle linebacker, and I think Jarrad and Robert Saleh, I think they're going to connect very well. I think Robert Saleh can bring the best out of Jarrad, and I think Jarrad is going to find out, how much better he can really be with a good defensive-minded head coach. You had Dan Feeney, the offensive guard for the Chargers. Anything? No? Oh, okay. You have Dan Feeney, the offensive guard for the Chargers. He's coming to the Jets now. LaMarcus Joyner, safety from the Raiders. He was kind of a nickel corner safety. What is he? John Gruden doesn't really know himself, but Robert Saleh has already said he's going to be the free safety. So I hope John Gruden is watching and listening. Hey, a player is a player at his position. You can't just make him what you think he's going to be. He is what he is. So I'm kind of glad that LaMarcus is joining a team where they're going to use him right. The Raiders did not use him right at all. So I'm glad he's going to a team that is going to use him right. And he's going to a coach where it's all energy, and that's what LaMarcus brought all the time. Tyler Kroft, a solid tight end coming from Buffalo. I thought that was a good pickup. What else we got? I know there was more. And then, again, just another good veteran presence right here. Vinny Curry, the defensive end from the Eagles. Again, another long in the tooth type of defensive end, but leadership, championship pedigree, what it takes to win, how to be a professional week in, week out. I think that's a good one. Deshaun Phillips, the linebacker, an amazing H3 special teamer, where he lines up in the special teams. He knows how to get down the field, and he is a great special teams ace. And I think that was a great pickup by the Jets in general. And then surprisingly, the only 49er connection that Robert Saleh did with a free agent for the 49ers was Tevin Coleman. He left Atlanta and he got to the 49ers thinking, well, this is going to be it. He was going to rock it, and it didn't work out for him, but now he has another chance with the Jets, and now they're getting a little younger at the running back position. That's a good move right there. And overall, I like what the Jets did this free agency. They kind of brought out the best players available, like draft-wise, just bring in some good veterans. We don't have to go for the one shiniest toy who we know can make an impact right now. Let's just get a plethora of players, get them in the building, and just show the younger generation, hey, this is how it is. This is what it's like to be a professional. And I like that. I like that pickup. So I think for me, it's just one of those things where I think Robert Saleh, he knows what he's doing. And again, I have faith in him. I have every faith in him that he's going to turn the New York Jets football team around. But he has a lot of questions that need to be answered. Obviously the offense was a disaster, and obviously the defense is not up to what he's used to. And he does have positives, though. He does have some positives. Jamison Crowder is a nice piece. So now you got Keelan Cole. You have Corey Davis, who's going to join the team, 2 professionals. Jamison Crowder's a nice piece. You got your 3 wide receivers set there. Again, Tevin Coleman's joining the helm. And like I said, when Frank Gore's your leading rusher, it's just time for a change. Love Frank Gore, great player, one of the greatest running backs to ever do it. It's just he's kind of at the end of it now, and it's just time to move on. That's it. No, if he wants to keep playing, cool, but I don't think it's going to be for the Jets, so we'll see. And I think the biggest question I think every fan has is Sam Darnold the future of the Jets? Well, Robert Saleh has to kind of ask that himself every day. He has to look at this quarterback class, and he has to kind of see if he believes that there's a better chance that one of these rookie quarterbacks can win right now over Sam Darnold. And I think that's the question of not just Jets fans, but I think, mock draft fans everywhere, because remember, that trade yesterday with the 49ers, which that is tomorrow. And my friend George is going to join us tomorrow for the 49ers one. So I'm finally happy that we get to have a guest on the show. So that's always good. But I think that's the first question. Is Sam Darnold the future? I don't know. A lot of people going back to that trade are saying, well, man, why did the Dolphins move back? And why, because they have the draft capital to do whatever they want. They have all those draft capital and everything to play with the board and everything. So they can do whatever they want at this point. I think my biggest question would be, and I'm going to ask George the same thing tomorrow, what did Robert Saleh and Shanahan talk about that made Robert stay at 2 and where Shanahan was comfortable at taking at 3? Only Robert knows. I think at this point, only John Lynch and Saleh knows what they're going to do. everybody's kind of expecting quarterback. And it's pretty hard to predict that only due to the fact that Sam Darnold's still there. If they were taking quarterback, especially with all the losing that they've had, Sam Darnold should have already been gone, in my opinion. So that's just a big thing for me. To me, that's just a big one. Do we have something?
My brother wants to get on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Put him on. Hey, look at that, guys. We actually have a guest. Not for Jets, but just a simple fan. What do we got? Is he on? Yeah, we'll get him on right now. Oh, I think I hear him. Bro, you there?
What's up, champ? How are you, man?
Well, I'm talking about the Jets, but I'm trying to find your name. You're not till the 11th, my man. Get out of here.
I couldn't wait, man. I needed to get on this draft talk.
Okay.
I'm excited.
All right.
You're not excited for draft season.
Oh, come on. That's why I do this, man. What you got, man?
For the Jets?
For the Jets, I mean, well, because I just got done talking, is Sam Darnold the future? In your opinion, do you think, to me, it's sort of weird that people are expecting quarterback only due to the fact that Sam Darnold's there. I thought if the Jets were going to quarterback, Sam Darnold should have been gone way before free agency even started.
Right. I look at it like, it's just that thing that happens a lot, dude, especially with the Jets or plenty of teams. They get that quarterback and they just don't get him the weapons, man. And at the end of the day, they just end up blaming him. And I think Sam Darnold's a great.
No, I did mention that earlier. I think this is more on the organization than it is on Sam Darnold. They never built anything around him. And I think that's unfair to him. That it's like, well, I mean, obviously, you know how it goes. The quarterback's going to get the glory and the quarterback's going to get the blame. There's no in between, And
for sure.
And I think for me, I just think this was more of an organizational standpoint where the Jets failed to build a team around him, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they failed him. Darnold did not fail the Jets.
Exactly. That's exactly. And because don't get me wrong. I love Frank Gore. But when he's your leading rusher at this point of his career, you have problems.
Dude, they need to be smart. They need to take one of those top O linemen that are coming out. There's a lot of great O linemen. They need to protect him. I thought they picked up a couple of those in free agency. I'm not too sure. I don't really follow the Jets, so excuse me if I'm wrong.
Well, they did get one.
A couple of good wide receivers in free agency, correct?
Well, they did get one lineman. It was Dan Finney from the Chargers, the guard. So I mean, they. No,
I said they picked up wide receivers in the free agency.
Oh, absolutely. They got Corey Davis. Remember him, the first rounder out of Wyoming that was for the Titans. And they got Keelan Cole, the wide receiver from the Jaguars. So they picked up a couple. Nice pieces. And then Jamison Crowder, he's still on the Jets. So, I mean, he can play.
Yeah.
So
just get an O-line or, number 2 is too high for running back.
Yeah.
Stay O-line, man. O-line. Protect that kid and then go from there.
It's just hard. To me, it's just hard because whatever the Jets do at number 2, they're already going to be a better team than they were the second they were on the clock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Because whoever they pick up, they're already going to pretty much is going to be like this. Whoever they draft is going to be the best player at that position in that group right there. It's because
at number 2, I don't think you go wrong with an all-lineman. I'm just saying, I think by getting another quarterback or whatever, they're doing the whole thing with Sam Darnold and all that. It would be dumb. Just get an O-lineman and go from there.
Well, remember,
unless you want to work on the defense, but I thought their defense was okay last year. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, remember, they were the worst offense in the NFL. Like, they were dead last. And they were offensively. No, defensively, they were 26.
Wow, that's still pretty bad.
It's bad, but I mean, and I mentioned earlier, now that Robert Saleh, the former defensive coordinator for the 49ers, is coming to the Jets, he's going to bring energy, and he's a smart defensive-minded coach. So that defense is going to improve vastly. Not right away, but there's going to be improvements right there. And like I said, last year they already went all linemen. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you can never go wrong with all linemen, no matter where. You know what I mean? Never. There's no such thing as a too much of a high price for a peace of mind. You know what I mean? So it's just I think.
Did you make your pick yet?
Not yet, not yet. I did want to get into some positives of the Jets, though.
Go ahead.
All right, there was some positives. First, Quinnen Williams. He looked like the third pick overall a couple seasons ago, finishing with 7 sacks. So he's finally getting into the groove of things. So that's good. Jamison Crowder, he's looking like a badass wide receiver. He's looking pretty. He's a nice piece. Jamison Crowder is a really nice piece for the Jets. That was a really good find.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I think for me right now, I don't think there's a quarterback that you could switch with Darnold and that you can win right away. I think Darnold is the right man for the Jets. You just have to build. You just have to put a team around him, is what it is.
Exactly, man. You know when the rookies come in, do their first year. I mean, unless you're like some phenom where you're just going to rip up the league, I don't see that happening. Not even with number 1, Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is still going to need a little bit of time to get, used to the pace and the high speed of the NFL. Sam Darnold's already been there. He's seen it. He's won a couple games, obviously, but not enough for them to obviously be happy with the position. But you don't have to go through that learning curve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually got killed for that yesterday. I went on my first show yesterday, and I know you saw it, and I know I got killed yesterday, where I said, man, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is even the best quarterback in this draft. I'm actually going to go with the kid from BYU. I think he's the best. Yeah, Wilson, I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. And to be honest with you, I don't even have Trevor Lawrence as my number 2 or my number 3. I have him as my number 5.
What?
Yeah, I have him as my number 5. It's just, you know what? To me, it's just a gut feeling. I just do not see franchise quarterback in that kid. I don't.
Well, he is going to the Jaguars.
Duh. I mean, anybody that, unless you've been living under a rock, I mean, there's nothing Trevor Lawrence can do or say at this point. He's going number 1, but I don't see franchise QB next to Trevor Lawrence's name. And I could be wrong. So, but I'm just calling my shot now, like the Babe. I'm calling my shot now.
Okay, yeah. I don't know about that, bro. I got Trevor Lawrence up there. I mean, remember, Trevor Lawrence has played in a lot of big games. That quarterback from BYU has not played in no national championship games. Obviously, he got ripped up against LSU. Hold on.
Okay, no.
Yeah, he got ripped up against LSU's defense, but that defense was.
Oh no, that's not. No, that's a good excuse. That LSU team, it's going to be a long time before we see that again. A very long time till we see that again.
Exactly. So
he's
played in big games, so he's already had a little bit of a test, a little bit of a taste of what the NFL is going to bring, because you're going to play defenses like that pretty much every week. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
With the speed, the toughness, and all that. So, yeah, man, you better be ready, dude. You better be.
Oh, absolutely.
Number 1 overall.
I think for me, what it was I remember the 2018 one where they did win it and they trashed Alabama. Well, to me, I saw that more as the Clemson defense did their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Clemson played well that day.
And then, they move on to LSU. I understand LSU was a tough opponent. But you got to think about it. His last 2 big moment games were kind of like, it just him individually. He got outplayed by the other quarterback. And now I'm not saying, because I'm not going to say Ohio State rocked them. But, I mean, if Alabama killed Ohio State in that championship game, what the hell would they have done if they played Clemson? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, for me, I just look at it as like, okay, yeah, he played the big games and he did this. But remember, bro, I know the ACC. I'm a Hurricanes fan. So, all the ACC, I get it. And to me, Clemson was a team where it's like, it was like the 49er effect. Remember the 49er Super Bowl run? Not this season, but the season before that?
When they lost to Baltimore?
When they lost to Kansas City, the one of just last year.
Oh, the last one.
Yeah. There was a lot of layers to the 49ers before it's like, oh, man, now Jimmy G's got to beat us. That's the same. And, at that point, it's like, oh, Jimmy G has to beat us? We might have a shot. You know what I mean? I saw the same thing with Clemson where it's like, man, if it's not the defense, it's the offensive line. And if it ain't the offensive line, it's the wide receivers. And if it ain't the wide receivers, it's the running back. And if it's not the running back, it's the coaching. It was a lot of layers before it's like, oh man, if Trevor Lawrence is going to beat us, we might have a shot. That's the same way I see it with him. That's just how I see it. I just have this gut feeling that Trevor Lawrence is not going to work out as people think that he is.
Right. Yeah, man. I don't know. Like I said, I think Trevor Lawrence. I think one of the things that gets overlooked on him a lot is his mental toughness.
Oh no,
He's a smart kid, man.
Yeah, no.
And he knows where to throw it. He knows when stuff is open, when is when to call certain plays and stuff like that. I don't know. I got a hunch about the kid. I think he's gonna be okay. I don't see bust. Are you seeing bust? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying and like I said, I'm not wishing bad for the kid because that I've never wished that for any problem. I wouldn't be surprised 4 years from now he's a backup on another team.
No, I don't see that. I'll even bet you for 4 years now, pizza. He's gonna be a starter somewhere.
Make it a Pizza Hut meat lovers, and you're all good. But
I'm gonna let you get back to it, brother. I know you got your show going on. I just wanted to pop on and.
Did you want to make your pick? Did you want to make your pick? Who do you think the Jets are gonna take?
No, I'll leave it up to you, man.
Okay. You don't.
Probably go old lineman, but I'll leave it up to you. I'll be ready for my pick on the Raiders one.
All right, sounds good, man. Thanks for joining, bro.
All right, take care, bro.
Later on, man. All right, so that was my brother. Yeah, we both love the draft, so it was actually kind of cool to have him on right now. And like I said, the Jets have nice pieces. I'm always going to try to find the positives. Jamison Crowder is a nice piece for the wide receiver group. Quinnen Williams, amazing defensive tackle now. He's getting his feet under him after his rookie year was rough. And then the beginning of his sophomore year, not a lot of people really had faith in him after, but he really picked it up at the end of the year. So I think Robert Saleh, the Jets, I think they're going to really turn this thing around. So I think above all else, I think my brother's watching, and I think we're ready for the selection. So let's see what I believe the Jets are going to do with the second pick in this year's draft. I really got to train Coco to bring me a note, the notes. That would be sweet. But all right, here we go, guys. So with the second pick of the 2021 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Jamar Chase, wide receiver, Louisiana State University. Go Tigers. That was my best Coach Orgeron voice. All right, that's the best I got. But yeah, look, I understand where my brother's coming from. You always want to get more protection, and you can never have too many offensive linemen. However, I just think because they went first-round linemen last year, they took Mickey Becton, the offensive tackle from Louisville, and with the offensive line class this year being so deep, they can afford to wait into the second round or maybe with their other first-round pick to get another lineman because there's going to be a lot of them. There's a lot of first-rounder linemen that might fall into the second because of how deep this draft class is. I just think right now they're they were the worst offense. Yeah, it's cool. You want to protect Darnold, but if you have nobody to throw it to, I understand they picked up Corey Davis, Keelan Cole, Jamison Crowder, as I keep mentioning, is a good piece, but those are just, maybe they'll get open some of the time. If you get a Jamar Chase, he will be open all the time. Jamar Chase, 6'1", 200 pounds. When I see Jamar Chase, I think of a taller, stronger, crispier Anquan Bolden. He's good with his route running. He has strong hands. I think the only thing that does get away from him is his weight sometimes. I think he shifts the weight a little too forward sometimes where the comebacks are a little bit hard and, harder to come back to. But overall, remember, at the championship game, he showed his grit. I love the kid. I think he was the best wide receiver heading into next year, but he opted out because due to everything that was happening with COVID and everything, he opted out because he knew he had first round ability after his sophomore year. So his freshman year, 23 receptions, 313 yards, 3 TDs. He never really got on the field, but he showed that he can play. In 2019, his sophomore year, that's where he blew up. 84 receptions, 1,780 yards, 20 touchdowns. That was incredible. And he played alongside with Justin Jefferson and that great LSU team that my brother mentioned just a few minutes ago. So in 2019, first team All SEC, the unanimous All American Award, national champion, and the Fred Biletnikoff Award, all in 2019. The Fred Biletnikoff Award being that he was the best wide receiver in the nation that year. His junior year, he opted out. So now he was eligible to enter the draft. He's been working. I know he missed a year of football, but I just think it's better for him. So now you know he's healthy. So you have no worries about injuries. You know he's been practicing. You know he's been training. I just think for me right now, for the Jets, Sam Darnold needs somebody to throw. He needs a connection. Jamison Crowder's nice. Corey Davis is a nice addition. Keelan Cole is a great, teammate. He's going to be a great teammate, but he needs his guy. I think Sam Darnold needs his guy. And you can't go wrong with Jamar Chase. When he's already drawing comparisons to Anquan Bolden, Larry, from the NFL Network, those are pretty good. For me, I see more of an Anquan Bolden and maybe just a little bit of a faster, kind of the same play style as a Brandon Lloyd from the Denver Broncos all those years ago. I kind of see it. He can make all the contested catches. He's got the strong hands, and he's got the will. So I just think right now for the Jets, I think you can always get a lineman later. You can always get your running back later, especially now that you have another first rounder and you have an early second. So you can always get your lineman. I just think right now you need a number one wide receiver. You have good receivers, but you need a true alpha at that group. And I think Jamar Chase is the perfect pick for the Miami Dolphins. So I'm going to go with Jamar Chase. I actually did a last-minute switch. I'm not going to tell you who that was until later, but I think Jamar Chase at number 2, I think it makes the most sense for the Jets to help Sam Darnold, to give him another shot, give him a couple more seasons. And after that, if it doesn't improve under the new coaching staff, then I think it's time to move on. I think you have to see what Sam Darnold can do with a healthier team, with better protection, a better defense, just a little bit, and just give him a shot. Give him a shot to get a true alpha male at wide receiver. So I'm going to go with Jamar Chase at number 2, wide receiver out of LSU. So that's my pick. So that's going to do it for today's episode. As I said, tomorrow, I know today was a little bit early, but we kind of have stuff to do. So I know, like I said, transition to Vegas, got a bunch of moving parts going around. I'm just glad I was able to do the video with you guys today. Tomorrow, we do have my good friend, George, huge 49er fan, huge, loves his Niners. We actually had to do a switch with our friends and everything that were guests for the Dolphins and the Niners to kind of switch their days, and I'm glad they agreed. It's awesome that they did. I have my buddy George tomorrow, so he's going to join us to talk about the 49ers, their season, how did it go, what went right, what went wrong, talk about his draft class, the free agency, how it's going for him, how it's going for the Niners, how he's thinking about the moves, and how he felt about moving from 12 to 3. So that's all going to be tomorrow, and then he's going to make his prediction. I'm going to make mine. I think we know what we're doing, but I'm just going to – I know where I'm going with it. I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm going to see where George goes. I know what position is going to be. I just want to know what quarterback he thinks it's going to be. I know what quarterback I would do if I was the Niners. It's going to be interesting to see from a fan perspective to see where he thinks Shanahan and the Niners are leaning towards. So it's going to be awesome. So tune in tomorrow. I want to thank everybody that tuned in here on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. The podcast for the Jets will be up a little bit later tonight. Thank you for everybody. Thank you for the beautiful comments. I want to thank my brother for joining me. It was so nice to hear him. It's always nice to talk draft to him. We love this, and it's always good to talk about it. I want to thank everybody yesterday for the well wishes, wishing me well, welcoming me to Vegas, everything. I want to just that's awesome. I didn't think I love that. So thank you all so much. Other than that, comments are good here. We went through everybody here. We have any comments over there? Nope, we're good over there. All right. As always, you can always leave a comment after the video. The podcast will be later on tonight. So have yourselves a good Saturday. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a fun one. Have a couple beers. It's the weekend. Enjoy yourselves. I got to start getting ready. So have a good night, everybody.